What is going on, family? It is Sunday, April 2nd, day after April Fool's, 9:02 p.m. Eastern Time. It is your host. I am your host, the Digital GOAT. Welcome to Digital GOAT Academy, guys. And today is our weekly outlook. So if you guys are viewing me on YouTube today, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, make sure you keep that notification bell so you can stay up to date to all my content, guys. And let's get the party started. So if you're on Zoom, you guys can speak. This is, our pretty much chill day. So this is my weekly outlook. So let me just go ahead and pull up my chart. I hope y'all like my vibes too. And tell me if the music is too loud. But I got a lot to talk about today. Like, wow, man. I got a lot to talk about, yo. Did y'all see oil, man? Tell me if y'all saw oil. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my music down. I'm sure it's loud. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Bet.
Yeah.
What's going on, goats? What is going on? But anyway, did y'all see oil today? Can y'all see my
I ain't a
screen?
goat, but I'm a G. Go ahead.
Close enough, man. It's the same letter in the alphabet. Like but yo, look at oil, yo. Did y'all see what oil did? Gray, you saw what oil did, man? Bro.
Man.
This is so there was news that came out that was talking about OPEC. So OPEC, I forgot what it stands for, but it deals with, I think, energy, specifically like oil prices. And they talked about this move coming up, and I actually thought that they were just talking about the continuation of, well, the move that it made last week. So last Friday, it was continuing bullish, and I thought that that's what they were just talking about. But they actually showed it in a line chart. So if you look at it on a line chart, this is exactly what they were showing. So I saw that, not really paying attention, like oil had made that, big move. But I was expecting oil to come down. So the fact that it created a gap in a higher position, which I'm glad it did, in a higher position, I do think that oil is going to come down and sell, but probably still play around these highs. But they were talking about it on Bloomberg, where they said that oil is probably going to have like price cuts. So oil is probably going to be trying to target for a lower buying price, is what they were mentioning. I don't know when that's going to come, but like I said, it did get close enough to the area that I had marked off for resistance. And I was looking at a sell zone at 77. So this was right around that area that you mentioned, Gray, where it touched the high of like 81 today, something like that. 81.55. Let's see if there was like a wick behind that too. 81.55 based off of like this broker. Obviously it's going to be like different on another broker, but this was the move that I was looking for, that I believe that it was going to bring oil down to probably lower prices. Now obviously today's Sunday, Monday, we still got to wait for more data, so I don't believe oil is going to just straight keep selling and not give some type of pullback or return up here. So it will probably cover at least, if not like 50%, all of this whole gap right here. If you guys see, like, there's no data, the market just like spiked all the way up here, so it'll probably cover that whole percentage, and then from there it could decide to buy up, but I don't know how high. But again, we'll just have to play the market pretty much by ear on a Sunday, but it's selling. So if anybody was looking at what I was mentioning in the group chat, well, where I mentioned on the group analysis, even though it didn't come exactly, it came past where I wanted to enter, my bias was still the same. So I got in oil at this high. You know what I'm saying? I'm currently in oil right now, and I think it's going to come down here and fill this gap. And I'm not sure if it's going to continue pushing down. I would like to see that. That's what I'm aiming for. But of course, the market has to play structure. It's not just going to push all the way down here. I'll be surprised if it did that. But we'll see as price gives us more data. I do think that with it selling right now, until we get to like London session, we'll still continue to see selling pressure, maybe like 4 a.m. And it has a lot of ground to cover. But yeah, like, I think that this is the move that's going to either create another level of support down here, or a lower high. Not a lower high, a higher low, my bad. Or a higher low in order for oil to continue going up. The state of oil, I'm not sure what it is. The only thing I'm going off of today is purely like price action. So, but I had an expectation to sell oil around this certain area. So if you see, it blew past that area, still in an area that I had marked off, which was resistance and clean up there. It's crazy how that happens. So I'm comfortable either way. The fact that it blew past this entry, but it still hit an area that I had targeted for resistance. And I think we're selling. I don't know how low, but this is a big move right here. If you look at oil just from that move, even if you got like towards somewhere at the top, that's 170 points. Y'all know what that could be on a standard. That's 1700 on a standard. On a 0.1, that's 170. Is that no on a 0.1? That's
Yo, Twan.
yo. You can hear me? What's up? I think you gotta fix your audio if it's like cutting out. Sorry. Or when you fix that. But so yeah. I'm thinking oil's gonna come back to the price of, again, it's gonna be off based off your broker. So look at your MetaTrader 4 and look at the pattern, or you know where the gap may be on your MetaTrader 4. I'm not sure if it's even showing a gap on MetaTrader 4. I didn't look, but like 75, 55. That's an area that I'm looking to get out. Obviously, still play the market by its current like previous highs and stuff. So I could see maybe a potential bounce at the 77.46 again. Like it's going to be choppy how it comes down, but if it is selling, it's going to be aggressive, but it's going to be like choppy because the market basically just opened for the week. There's not enough data pouring in besides what we just saw, but man, that's crazy. What's crazy is that we were on the buying side all the way down here. If you guys remember, we were on the buying side. Like how many pips would that would have been? That shit is crazy. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? But that would have been us. That would have been us if we held that, but it's all good. So because if price is doing what I believe it would do, oil should create lower prices. That's what the big topic was this week, is that oil may create lower prices than people expect. I see a lot more buying pressure to the upside, but we'll see.
So how low do you think it's gonna go, bro? I'm sorry.
I can't. Well, I had a target from last year that I believe oil was going to come back to like anywhere from $20 to $30 a barrel. But I can't call it to say that move would even happen like this year. You know what I'm saying? It could take like a whole nother year before oil do that, and it just starts, you know, becoming stagnant and not really, you know, making these big sells and big buys that we're looking for. So it's kind of hard to call it, and I'm gonna literally have to rely only on fundamentals because oil is not something that you could just do technicals alone. Like, yeah, you get the technicals for the like entry, but trying to figure out the direction is more fundamental based.
So for today's session, I know that shit started up at the top and now it's selling like a motherfucker. I'm saying it's gonna come back down to at least that 75.
I believe so. But it's not, you know, as we start getting into other market sessions, what's going to happen is that the market is going to jump up and jump down. You know, when we open into London, it could be all the way down here, and then the market, like, it could be somewhere like 78, and then London opens and it pushes it all the way back up here to like 80. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just because this is a lot of selling opportunity to not have no pullbacks. Doesn't matter to me because I'm at the top. Once I saw that move that we had, I knew it was going to come back. But because this is Sunday going into Monday, enough data hasn't been poured into the market. We can't look at this as an opportunity to straight sell from here. I would love for it to do that and blow past all these areas, but more than likely it's going to reject that and then try to, you know, create resistance or create a lower high from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this is still good news for us because you know, we already tracked oil basically what I said in the chat. Let me look at what I said in the chat. This is what I was mentioning. If you guys were following in the group analysis chat, that we talking. Well, I talking. That serves a purpose for everybody to be able to see like either what I'm thinking, what somebody else is thinking, to be able to have conversation on like what's going on with that specific pair and stuff. So even if we're not, in front of a live trading view or a live chart screen, we can still make sense of what's going on through conversation. So I'm gonna kind of see what I set up in there. And I mentioned that I wanted to get in this entry. And like I said, the fact that it broke past that and I was already looking for selling opportunity, it just made me that much more confident to go ahead and jump in this market. One, at resistance. I mean, it's literally at resistance. So I got USD Swiss franc that I'm gonna talk about, and I just wanted to pinpoint oil because I think oil is gonna be a oh snap. Okay, I think oil is going to be a good opportunity for us this entire week. So because that news is being flooded in, I think they mentioned there's going to be OPEC news in May. So obviously, let's look for something that goes on next month dealing with oil, and just don't be surprised if something crazy happens. But we'll kind of get more information as they start giving it to us this month, and then figure it out from there. But we just play the technicals.
Have you not noticed that the world is at war with America?
You said what?
I said, have you not noticed that the world is at war with America?
With like the whole like
a silent war, yeah, like a silent war. Like if they locked up with China, we're Russia, and we import Russia oil. You get what I'm saying? It like, you didn't read my text message this weekend?
Yeah, I read it. But I'd already saw that news like 2 weeks ago.
What that mean?
Well, I just didn't think it was relevant at that time. Because I was looking for information based off of that news, like what it was gonna tell me. So gold, we caught the move last week. So me and Ty was looking at gold last week, and I did have the expectation for it to go up to 1989, right? And it came up to 1987. So this was a bank entry right here, right? And this is something that I talked about with you guys before, and you see me mark it up like with a gold like line on the chart, right? And that's normally like where I've seen like it's always impacted like normally around like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So you're looking at like opening bell or like 8:30. And what does that line up with? Normally times that banks open, right? So I normally try to pinpoint it on, like, I obviously don't know what bank entered the market, but I normally label it by like the market. So I think if I say New York session, I believe that obviously an American bank entered in the market. If I said London, then I believe like a European or United Kingdom bank entered in this market. So during this time, I forgot what news we got, but I believe an American bank entered in this market, which drove gold down. But again, we were looking for this area, like at least for a rejection. But again, I did want it to make a break up and make a new high. But once we got this information right here, that just told us that the market was trying to come down. I do think that gold is still going to try to push up, but that gap that it was made, I think like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, that gap that was made, that's what I think that gold is pretty much attracted to right now. So it's trying to target that gap, and then we'll figure out, like, once price in more data from there, we'll figure out like what's it's trying to do. But I do think that that'll push down closer to, like, I think I said 1826. I'll put right here. So I labeled it, this is where the gap was at, right here. So So that's around 1865, 1864. So this is based off this pattern. I do think that gold is actually created a bearish flag. So if we look at it, I mean, the sign just pretty much showing us right there. Not to mention with my favorite pattern that I like to use, which is the double doji. The bearish double doji. GU actually produced the same pattern. So I'm confident in saying like a couple of these pairs against the dollar is going to be pushing down up until they reach either their previous highs or resistance. But I do think gold specifically is attracted to this gap that was made. You can't see it on, the 8-hour time frame, but it's there. And I know on people's MetaTrader 4, they can see it clearly on this in this trend. And it just makes sense when you've seen this pattern before. This is rising? I always get them backwards. I think it's a fall. Yeah, it's a falling because the wedge is falling, right? Whenever you see the falling wedge, right? What it does is it breaks out of that area and then it retests and it creates, a trend in the market, bullish. Obviously, if it was a rise, then it would do the opposite. You guys seen this before, and then it sweeps it on the other side, right? Depends on what it does. So if it on the falling wedge, it would create like some type of support. On the rising wedge, if it was like to come back to it, it would create some type of resistance and stuff. But now that we've had this entire move right here with no type of recovery, and we're getting some form of bearish patterns presenting in the market, more than likely this market is going to come probably like 7/8 of this entire move. So yeah, I can see this market, and it just lines up with what a previous high in the market that the market hasn't retested. So if this market this week decides to actually continue coming all the way down, this is like these areas where I'm looking at the market to target. And then, once you see exhaustion, that'll probably give you time for buy entries, because I do think even if we make it all the way down here, we're still bullish in the market. But we'll see. This is a big pattern, and if it starts breaking these levels, then obviously we got to reassess the market. But I don't know. I haven't looked that deep into gold to really kind of give projections on how far I think it would go. But I mean, I did mention that we do need some type of recovery. You see how bullish it was. What was that? March. What is this? The weekly. So over 3 weeks straight, we have been aggressively bullish. So I did see like we needed some type of recovery, and it looks like that's what the market is trying to do, but it just depends on where it's going to exhaust itself at. So like I said, I'm looking forward to target at least that gap. Would have put you at like 1865. Where are we at? Why does it look like that? Yeah, I put you at like 1865, 1864. And then from there, once it, makes this move, I'll be looking for like buy entries. I don't know if that's going to present us this week, because gold could decide to exhaust and start moving sideways for a while. But at least between like today and then Tuesday, once you get your pullback, I'm still looking at selling opportunities. But gold created a gap when it opened up in this market this morning. At 5 o'clock. You can't see it here, but look at your MetaTrader 4. You can see it clearly. It created a gap. So I think it's looking to come back and grab that gap, and then it'll give you a selling move from there. I think that was like somewhere up here. I think this candle is the candle actually. I'm gonna have to clean up these charts. No, that's not it. Is it this? Yeah, this is the gap right here. I think it made somewhere up here. But if I'm looking to re-enter in gold, and I'm looking somewhere in this zone right here, that puts me closer to the top anyway of where this resistance is at. 1969. So if I was looking to re-enter back in gold, it would be like 1969, 1970. Like after it does its pullback, regardless of when it happens. Like I said, the momentum could still be pushing down, but then, you know, London comes, it's down here, and then does a buy all the way back up to this entry. So it just depends on what the market starts showing us based off of price action. But that's what I'm looking for gold. No matter what, I'm still looking for it to sell. So again, even if it kind of comes a little bit higher than what we expected, I'm still looking at selling opportunities. It just can't come like back up to like 1979, 1976 is where I'll probably be like, nah, I think it's too high up for it to be trying to continue to sell. GU, it's selling, so I think it's gonna finally do its pullback. Is it doing its pullback? Yep, doing its pullback after it dropped, and I could have stayed in it. Man, it presented a head and shoulder right here too. Y'all see that on a 30-minute time frame? Clear as day. It's ugly. So we need some type of pullback for GU as well. Again, you know, we just add our fib to it based off the information we have now, because again, we don't know if the market is still trying to drop from here and create new data, which will change like our position of where we put our fib.
Deals and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger.
I think this momentum is pretty strong. So in all honesty, I'll probably be looking at like 38% return, just because this is our first pretty much pit stop to where the market kind of got like stagnant. So that's our consolidation zone, right? Again, what do we look for? Price consolidates. We look for it to either retest like the bottom of it or within its zone, right? So I think it's going to come back into this zone. And then, you know, you make a decision from there on if price is continuing to sell. But I mean, that's a buy opportunity right there, potentially. But again, GU, I'm looking at it to continue to sell once it's, you know, done doing its pullbacks and stuff. But let's see. I was looking at this earlier. I think this is the one that I saw the Bears double doji as well. Yep. That 8 hour would be clutch. So Bears double doji, price retested, you know, price retested this candle right here. So the momentum is telling us exactly what we want to see. We want to see selling opportunity. This is at 124. So remember, me and John, we had the, you know, and we had the target for 124. Market was manipulating, you know, kind of threw us off our course. But this was still where I was looking at the market to come down, right? Now, we'll have to see when it comes down to previous highs if it's going to stay on the selling side. But this is a strong pattern on a higher time, on a 8 hour time frame or a high time frame, right? I normally haven't used the 8 hour in the past, but now that I use it and it's a stronger time frame than the 4 hour and stuff, and I'm seeing patterns that I normally spot on like 4 hours or 1 hour and stuff, it's giving me the stronger bias on that this is a selling market right now. We just have to wait for the pullbacks. The only thing that I'm looking for is that within this market, it hasn't retested at least like 50% of this candle. I would like to see it retest 50% of that candle, which means that if that's the case, our area where we were looking for the consolidation zone, that's probably not going to be valid. I would want it to see it come as high as this. And remember, I mentioned this to you guys before, where it's like, you got to look at these wicks too, because these wicks are still like structure being made in the market. You know what I'm saying? Like if you break it down to a smaller time frame, that's still structure being made in the market. So I'm looking at selling opportunities for GU. And the last thing is USD Swiss franc. I gave that to y'all earlier. I didn't give it to y'all as far as like an entry, but I was mentioning it early on and giving you guys like my bias on what I believe what was transpiring like as the market closed. We got that 120% retest. We even got another retest on a smaller time frame. I peeked at it earlier, but the move was kind of like being made. But I do think that we're getting another buying opportunity here. So this was the 120%. This was the retest of this move right here. So broke through, still validating the buy, but had to retest this move because it left pretty much money over. This was the structure, but again, when I told y'all like, you know, price creates like these wicks, more than likely you want to see either a wick or you want to see like a candle grab it. You know what I'm saying? So either or you want some type of form of a pullback that indicate that this market is doing what you want to see. So based off of all this that I'm seeing, this is a buy opportunity for us. We're about to hit 930. Let me jump on a smaller time frame to see. I think I had it pulling back. Hold on. That oil is doing love right now.
Bro, so the wheels fall off. This might be my 10K day.
That's what's up, man. That's crazy, yo. That's what's up, though.
So the wheels fall off, bro. Whoa.
This is the move that I was already waiting for, man. Like, I just didn't know it was going to go this high, but, you know, the fact that it did do that, clutch. Okay, so we have a Sunday's candle that, I mean, obviously we know we normally have Sunday candles and they present themselves on Sunday. So I am looking for USD Swiss franc to pull back a little bit more. So let me see if I can find it on a 30-minute. I found it on my MetaTrader 4, but you know, like on TradingView, it looks different. I think this is it. Let me see. Oh, no. I think I had it on. I had it on the hour. So it's this candle right here, right? For you guys that have KOT, it probably looks different. It's probably like a bigger candle. So because price is showing me that it's actually trying to push down, what I'm thinking that we're going to have is that either price is going to come either 100% of this candle or probably like 50% of it as we normally mark up, right? I'm thinking more 50% than like what we've been seeing is like previous highs, but I'm thinking more 50% of this move. But, let's see. Let's actually see. Yeah, I'm still thinking 50%. So I want to see this market come like 50% back up in here. 91,460. 91,460 is where I want to see USD Swiss franc come back to before I look for a buy opportunity. And again, it can still push down a little bit lower, like 91.42. It can push down there. But I want to see it come back 50% because since it's trying to retest back into the box, we got to see like how far it's trying to create structure. Again, you guys see like what I be talking about with like wicks. Like look at these candles right here, like no retest towards them. See, and it created, now this candle retests this candle, but this candle hasn't had a retest. So really, if you box it up like this, that's back where structure's at. Trying to see like with that entry, what percentage of it would it be on this candle? I don't like that. So this is where I want to see the market come back down to before I look for a buy opportunity for USD Swiss franc. So that's 91,462. And if we're looking at like a stop loss, obviously want to clear structure. So if we put it at like 32, depending on how you're moving, obviously, if we put it at like 32, 35, that'll like clear us from structure. This is where like the structure ends, but you see how far the market actually went according to its wick. So, 30 pips, in all honesty, from this position to me is comfortable. And then just aim for 25, 30 pips because today is Sunday going into Monday. I do think the market is going to present us with opportunities to like swing trade, but I rather just like wait till we kind of get more information flooded into the market. So if anything, I would say like come back to this high, which is like 40 pips, or this high up here, like 40, 50 pips, but knowing that you're not going to give up the 25, 30 pips, like when the market is in profit, especially heavy hitters, you know what I'm saying? I know what y'all doing, but everybody else just move accordingly. But this is my entry for this trade. I'm probably going to put like a sell limit when it gets closer, and my stop loss is going to be around like 30 pips for my entry. It depends on what your account size is if you want to just go a little bit lower, but I would just like to clear this wick. I don't think it'll come as far as down here, but I would just like to clear this wick at the very least, and that'll put you like 25, 30 pips from our entry. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That's my weekly outlook. Those are the currencies that I'm focused on specifically this week. I'm not really focused on nothing else. I will say that Euro USD too, from last week, if you guys remembered like me mentioning it, that it came up to my zone and this was the sell zone that I was looking at, it's actually respecting its trend too. So I got to see what more like is going on in Europe. I haven't really focused on some of these countries like, economic news, but I just had these zones already marked up. It came within it. I had an expectation that it could come higher, and it could. Once we get news like funneled in, obviously it can change the conditions of the market. But as far as today into Monday, or at least until London, I believe that a lot of these currencies that I already mentioned, they're selling. They just have to claim, their pullbacks from these gaps and stuff that was made in the market. But I do think that we're in the selling market for some of these currencies, which would drive that dollar up. Let me see where it's at. Yeah, it would drive that dollar up. The dollar already, came back for that gap it made. Was that last week or the week before? The week before last. No, that was last week. That was last Monday. Okay, yeah, last Monday. So I think the dollar is coming back up to this Sunday's candle, which was that Sunday? Yeah, that's Sunday. I know that's Sunday. It's just merged in with Friday. But this Sunday candle around like March 20, 26, 27th. And yeah, we'll just see from there, because I do think that the dollar is selling from one of these positions, but we'll have to see. It did create some type of support structure, but we'll just have to see based off of the news and stuff. And I'm not sure if I haven't looked all the way up until like Wednesday to see if like Jerome Powell or anybody speaking. I don't think we have anything coming up, but I'll double check at that. And obviously I'll funnel that stuff to you guys. But as always, man, y'all, I will catch y'all Tuesday. I'm going to actually talk about the US dollar. I just kind of want to go into that on what I personally think like is going to happen with the dollar, based off of all this news that we got going on. And we'll see, guys. So, yeah, I'll catch y'all Tuesday, man. these are my thoughts on some of these currency pairs. Obviously, if you're trading on Sunday and today, you know, stick and move, and then look for longer opportunities on Wednesday, and that's where we'll capitalize on like those intraday and swing moves. But as always, guys, for my YouTubers, man, see you guys at the top because we're taking everybody to the top this year. If for my Zoom guys, if y'all want to stay on for a little bit, we can and stuff. I'm just gonna shut down the YouTube part, and if y'all want to stay on and we can chat for a little bit, y'all let me know.
Always, bro. Always. Mm-hmm.